So I wanted to record this. I'm having to relax again now because it's been a day and I'm starting to get really potsy, so I'm in bed. Kids are finally in bed. I have to elevate my feet. So I need to articulate something. This is also just for me to remember too. It's called a bad frame. So I have been badly framed 2 years ago. I mean, I think a lot of people like me have defamatory, violent crap in their medical files, and that's why doctors don't take us seriously and listen. And I think um, I'm just both fortunate and unfortunate enough to know about it. I think in my particular case, some really bad stuff has been written, more so than the usual, but I think that I'm not the only one who has this happen to them. And, you know, cynical, cruel, societal people that believe in the system obviously are going to criticize me and put me down, but there are also a lot of people that do feel how I feel about healthcare and about complex health conditions. And of course, those are the people who have complex health conditions and know how they're supposed to be treated and how they're not supposed to be treated. Like, we know that medicine, like public medicine especially, is very poor at treating most systemic conditions at this time. However, they can still treat them when they're in their emergency states. Sadly enough, though, with systemic conditions, like even things, you know, for example, let's just use an old-fashioned one, lupus, systemic lupus. That's a systemic condition. It affects multi-systems, and so do many conditions. But you don't want to, with any systemic condition, you don't want to treat one symptom and then antagonize another symptom. You know, for example, say that somebody with lupus has a flared up heart and a flared up kidney system, and you give medication for the kidneys, that's also hard on the heart. Well, that's not good because, you know, the heart could be in trouble because it's already also compromised. So what do you have to treat? You have to find out the cause. Why are the kidney and the heart inflamed? Oh, the immune system is screwed up. So then what needs to happen to treat both the kidney and the heart is that the person needs to be given an immunosuppressive to treat their immune system so that the immune system stops attacking the heart and the kidney. You know, it's like what I've always known about myself, and I have a diagnosis of Ehlers-Danlos, which is a genetic systemic connective tissue disorder. My mom was sick for years and nobody believed her. I saw her be sick in front of me. I saw her with a slew of allergies, with hives on her body like I get, with mood swings and anxiety and looking pale and awful, black circles or whatever. You know, I have makeup and you can actually see my dark circles like around my eyes, even with makeup. Nobody listened to her, and doctors were incredibly cruel, all the way to her getting blast leukemia. Her spleen was the size of a football, and she had 6 months to live, and the only reason why she did live was because she found a perfect match bone marrow donor. Even then, she rejected it 3 times and pulled through. What I'm saying is that these doctors are horribly framing me, and they're being cruel. Or not, I wouldn't say doctors, I'd say the psychiatrist in the system that has way too much clout. She's a horrible woman. She's a cruel woman. She has hurt other people, and yet somehow, I'm not going to mention the name of the agency that runs the health authority over here, allows her to continue to work as a top-notch psychiatrist in the hospital system. And it's absurd to me because God knows who else she's done this to. Point is that the woman met me for an hour and stamped a horrible thing on my file, and it frames me because here's what it says. It says that I have a gateway factitious problem. So I have a problem where I need to like fake and feign and make shit up in my mind for attention. That's what it says. I'm the opposite. I'm a strong woman, and I get irritated when I'm not understood. It's frustrating to me when people don't think. I think fluidly. I have no desire to be sick. I am sick and I hate it. I want to be well. I want my body to work. I'm getting emotional now. I'm a fighter, you know. She suggests that I want to be sick, that I somehow get off on being sick. Okay, this is Ehlers-Danlos. This is genetic. This cannot be faked. They tried to say, oh, well, because she has an eating disorder in her file, that she must be anorexic, she must have been bigger and lost a lot of weight. Yes, I've never been big. The anorexia, like, stuff was in my past, and it was more to do with stress and behavior, not... I do have a bit of a thing with gaining weight, but it's never been like... I was never really big and gained like lost tons of weight. It's just a really stupid thing to say. And when I met with this Ehlers-Danlos doctor in London, top-notch Ehlers-Danlos doctor, one of the best in the world, diagnosed me with Ehlers-Danlos most certainly. He wrote me a letter. He described why I do have Ehlers-Danlos and a story. You know, I have a right to access the care in my system, and they tried to bar me. But this is the worst part of it. And I'm going to fight it because I've gotten worse. Like, I'm calling friends and family and every day to help me. I'm having like POTS attacks. I'm drinking quarts of salt and electrolytes. It's absurd. I'm at the point that I'm okay with taking medication. The problem that I've always had with medication is doctors throwing medication at me like I'm some sort of guinea pig, lab rat. Bullshit. I've always known in my gut instinct that I have a systemic condition, and that if you just go and guinea pig me on some medication that's just going to try my symptom, it might harm another component to my condition. So that's why I've always seemingly demanded to know what's the cause here? Do I have a defective immune system? Do I have a malformation, problem in my neck and skull? It's pressing on my central nervous system and screwing me up. What's the cause? For my blood sugar problem, like, do I have a hormonal imbalance that causes me to not be able to read insulin, or do I not have enough insulin? I'm not a guinea pig. I'm strong in character, but my body is extremely sensitive. And I've had some very awful, terrible, scary experiences being guinea pigged in my past. So here's what they say to frame me. Get this. They say, you tell her that she has a condition, then she'll use it as a gateway to be factitious. So this is what happens. A doctor says to me, oh, you have a blood pressure problem. You have low blood pressure. You have a blood pressure problem. And I say, okay, I have a blood pressure problem. He says, here's a drug. Take the drug. Blood pressure, solved. I said, why do I have a blood pressure problem? Am I losing too much electrolytes in my urinary system? Do I have, is my heart deregulated, the electrical system? Do I have a problem with my central nervous system? Why is my blood pressure screwed up? Why is it screwed up? Could you find out why? Could you treat that why? Not just treat the symptom and possibly antagonize in a way that might compromise my safety another problem that I might have, It's like playing Russian roulette. I don't want to be played Russian roulette with, okay? I don't want to be, like I said, I'm not a lab rat. I don't want to play, I'm not willing to play those kind of games. This is my life, and I know how damn sensitive I am. I've seen my mom nearly die several times from anaphylactic and serious adverse effects to medications. People with the kinds of problems that we have, autoimmune and stuff, have adverse effects to medications. So these people are saying that it's not good enough for her. When you give her a diagnosis, I go, yay, ooh, finally, they're acknowledging I have a blood pressure problem. But then I seem demanding because I'm like, why? Why do I have a problem? And then that's when they say I have a gateway problem. They said, don't tell her that she has issues because it's a gateway. It even said, don't diagnose her with the systemic conditions that she has, which is why the genetics in my own hometown did the most superficial review you could possibly do, did everything in their power to try and talk me out of the obvious symptoms of Ehlers-Danlos that I have, because it says there, she's a problem patient, don't diagnose her with issues she actually has, because she'll make a big stink out of them and cost us money, wink, She'll demand to be treated. Oh heavens. She'll demand to know what's the cause of the problem. Am I doing it because I think I'm a queen? No, I'm doing it because I feel it's a safety issue for me. That's why I'm doing it. I feel deeply in my intuition that it is. I've had bad experiences with the wrong medications many times. They've triggered other problems that I have going on in me. It's like, it's just like, I mean, I take a lot of antibiotics. They trigger my IBS so badly that I can hardly eat. Things like that. It's really unnerving because I'm not saying that the causes are all serious. I'm saying that sometimes, I'd like to know why, because also, does it even need a drug? Do I have a blood pressure problem because I have a problem with my neck and I need therapy? My nervous system is deregulated. I mean, do I have a chronic, is my gut having this problem because it's spazzing out? Do I have an infection somewhere that I could, I mean, this is all, I know that I'm almost asking too much of, that's in the naturopathic realm. And that might not be something that a medical system can do. But what they can do, though, is recognize a systemic condition for what it is. And it's crap, and it's abusive and structurally violent that they say on my file, don't tell her about systemic conditions that she has because they could be a gateway. You know what they're saying? They're saying, don't tell her about systemic conditions that she has because she's educated herself and she understands the condition, and she's going to insult our egos by saying, hey, if you give me that medication, couldn't it also antagonize this problem over here? Isn't that not safe? She knows too much, so don't tell her nothing and go and frickin' what? Soft kill her? Bullshit. I'm not going to put up with that kind of abuse. Furthermore, they did it to me about my kids. That's right. They did it to me about my children. And that is low. They said, "Don't tell mama about kids having any kind of issues because she'll make a big deal out of it and have Munchausen-y fun." You know what I'm going to say about that right now? I'm going to say I have nothing to hide. That's why I'm speaking about it on camera. If I thought I was guilty or had anything to hide, I wouldn't be talking about it right now. This is crap. I will invite a forensic psychiatrist to come into my house and live with us for a week. You can see the truth. I may seem fired up right now, but you should see me. Sometimes I can hardly speak. I'm sick as a dog. I'm flared up really bad. My kids have challenges that are real. My younger one, I'm concerned that he has inherited my Ehlers-Danlos. There's several signs for that. I'm not going to go into it, but he missed out on a fair assessment because of the BS that was said about me, and that's not fair to him. And I'm basically going to go to the genetics in my city, and I'm going to say, you know what, I'm sorry, but I have a diagnosis from a top-notch doctor in London now. I was bypassed because of bias in this BS report that isn't even correct. I have an Asperger's an Asperger's assessment. It's a double assessment. It's not just I have a diagnosis that went through hours of learning tests, watched childhood video footage. It went through tons of stuff. It interviewed family members. I definitely have Asperger's, and in addition, I had an assessment to qualify for a government support program, and it really and they come into your house and they interview everyone and they see how you live. You can't, so it's like extremely like positive of evidence. I also have other issues, like I have PTSD. I definitely can have OCD. I'm not saying I don't have issues, but I don't have factitious disorder. I just don't. Sorry, I don't. And I am going to go, I don't care who comes in with cameras or whatever. Like, the point is that I'm not getting medical care right now, and I'm at the point that I can hardly function. I can't do the work that I love nearly as much. I can't correspond with people as much as I want. I have extremely limited spoons, and I get symptoms that I'm concerned with, that I worry. Because a lot of the ladies on the Ehlers-Danlos sites that have dysautonomia say, you should be you should be being given a weekly bag of saline fluid to replenish your electrolytes, because I pee like every half hour and I'm constantly craving salt, and I'm reliant on compression tights and wristbands, and that's not a figment of my imagination. I'm struggling to live, and that's not okay. There are treatments available for people like me. So what I'm saying is that for the first time, I saw an internal medicine specialist the other day, and he listened to me. He understood that things are fluid, he understood what I'm talking about. He said, taking this supplement, but did you know that this could be making this part worse with your blood sugars? And I went, oh, wow, like, oh, that's not good. That's why we need to find the correct medications. And, it's good, but the only thing that's scary is he works in the hospital system. And, he said he'd look more into my case. And, of course, I'm terrified that he's going to come across all the crap and not want to help me anymore and think, oh, so she is a pathological whatever. My biggest fear, and that's why it's time to be no more Miss Nice. It's time, like, I've tried to be nice. I've tried to explain diplomatically and nicely that I don't have this problem, and that this is the angle I'm coming from, that I don't want to be a guinea pig on drugs, and that if I'm diagnosed with a surface condition like, oh, you have a blood pressure problem, oh, you have a stomach problem, I want to know the why, because my instinct says I have to have the why treated. The analogy of lupus, where someone has both a kidney flare-up and a heart flare-up, and you give someone a kidney thing and it's bad for their heart. That's what I mean. It's not really that more complicated. I'm not asking for like a kumbaya, like healing. I want to do both. I want to stabilize my symptoms. Like, I know I seem fine right now. That's the strong kind of person I am. I was almost going to pass out until I basically lay down in bed, elevated my feet, and drank a whole bunch of electrolyte drinks and coconut water right here. I'm fighting for my life, and it's a damn good thing I'm smart, like educated, basically. It's a good thing that I'm educated, because if I wasn't, I think I'd be in deep shit right now. But I'm tired of doing all this work on my own, and I'm at the point that I'm open to taking medical treatments. I just need them to acknowledge my condition. And guess what? I already have a diagnosis. It's not that hard, I mean, it's really not. And it's not about me. They do this to a lot of people. The systems do this to a lot of people, and it's extremely violent. And there's so much change that's needed. I know that there's money issues, and there's a certain way the system is where it doesn't acknowledge that everybody's an individual and everybody has a different body type and people are affected differently. They would rather it still be an archaic system where people have these cookie cutter problems and they can just give a pill for that. It doesn't work that way. But when it doesn't work that way, it costs them a lot of money, and they don't like that. But the thing is when they don't want to accept that, it creates denial. And when you have denial, you can't think about how to solve you can't think about how to solve problems like budget issues and funding and research. You can't think about that when you're stuck in denial and fear. Fear paralyzes, and these people are afraid of what? Losing, being, made a fool of. I don't know. But the problem is that when they're afraid, they lose their compassion, because their fear brings out their ego, and then they have this defensive, what I like to call hierarchistic, which is like a combination of the word hierarchy and narcissistic, issue, mental problem. The system has this hierarchism problem where it can't acknowledge, it can't make admittances, and it has to point the finger back out on the poor patient. And that is, I've taken the brunt of it. And I know I seem strong and angry, but I've been affected, and I'm a mom, and I'm a person that I just want justice for myself and my family. I want my kids to have a nice life. I want us to be happy. I want to be able to leave the house and not fight with every spoon and fork that I have just to be able to go out today. I went out and it was beautiful, but I was having a POTS attack by the time I got in. I was scared. I don't like feeling like this. I don't want to have to feel just quite this bad. I know there's never going to be a cure for Ehlers-Danlos. I know I'm always going to be in some pain. I know I'm always going to have sensitivities and have to eat a special way and take medications and this and that. But I don't want to be afraid that I'm going to freaking pass out every hour. I don't want to be afraid for my life to that extent. I don't want to be not able to even go to the grocery store without asking for help. I don't want to be so afraid some nights to sleep that I prop myself up on an egg. My friends come over because I'm feeling so bad that they just want to make sure I'm okay. And it's not emotional, it's physical. And I've been progressing for a long time without being listened to, with being called a nutcase. I've had enough. All I want is to be listened to, and I think that's what a lot of people want. I'm not anything special. I just think that it's violent and dangerous to frame me as a factitious when I just basically need to know the why. I know I have systemic issues. I don't want to just treat it's absurdly violent to say don't diagnose her with a big name systemic umbrella condition because she'll use that as a vehicle. Bull. I'm telling you that what that would do for me is that would ensure my safety, because it would say, hey, she has this big thing here. She has this Ehlers-Danlos, so you can't just give her this medication. It might hurt this other aspect to it. It helps my safety. How does that make me want to be more gateway? It makes me relaxed, and I go, okay, you understand. Cool, we can cooperate. I will take the medication if I know about the side effects and I know it's not going to harm other aspects to my illness. I'll try it out. I'll start with small doses because I know that just like any good aspie, I need smaller doses of medications. And that's fine. That's not gateway and that's not factitious. It's the opposite. But what's psychologically terroristic to me and to other people like me is when you say shit like this about people. You say don't give them their information because they just might be, oh God forbid, educated. You can't take it? Is that the problem here? It's all about ego. In the end, it's all about denial, fear, and ego. And it's so sad that the medical profession has to be so infiltrated. And I'm not saying that they're all like that. There are some good doctors out there that it's just the system. It's infiltrated with ego and fear and denial. And it's supposed to be helping people. That's what the Hippocratic Oath. How about the Hippocratic Oath? You know? Seriously. It is. It's not like I'm watching the movie Patch Adams all over again. You know, we need good doctors and they're so few and far between. And crap that gets written in files like psychiatry should not have the top authority ever to say what's wrong with somebody. The tier system gives psychiatry that kind of authority. I don't understand that one bit. I never will. Yeah, people have mental health issues. Usually, when people have mental health issues, they're having a physical imbalance. It's not rocket science. Discounting somebody based on medical health issues is completely prejudiced and totally biased in a way that is completely unfair. Because it's saying that people with mental health issues can't have physical health issues and don't have a right to be treated. And that's because they diagnose mental health issues based on people that question, people that ask why, people that are problematic because they see through shit. It's all rigged, and it's sad because it needs to be helping people. The medical system needs to change. It needs to help people. People have to fight so hard to finally get help, and it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm at the point that I'm going to say to them, look, this is a human rights issue, and I'm not going to be quiet about it. I'm a mom. I could lose my kids if this continues. That's not fair to them when you people can simply treat me and monitor me, and that's fine. I'll cooperate, no problem. But I'm a smart person, I'm an educated person, and I just need reasons. I need to be given the facts about side effects. I need to know what I'm taking and know why and how it's going to work. And I need to be involved in my care. And they just don't like that. A lot of doctors don't like that. But it's the patient's right to be. What is the problem with a patient being a smart person? If a patient is a smart, intelligent person, some patients want to just pass off their care to doctors. And some patients want to be really involved. They want to understand logically what's going on. It helps them cope. And that's not factitious. That's not a mental illness. That's just who that person is. And to pathologize it and punish that kind of a person for wanting to be in charge of their health care is absurd to me. It's absurd to me. And violent. And insecure. And egotistical. Enough said, man. I have said enough. I am perseverating and I need to go and rest. Not just me. It's time for some zen. Zen time. I just needed to get it out. How I'm being treated, and because I've had enough and I'm scared, and that's no lie. I'm not BSing and be this good. I mean, give me you can choose to believe me or not. I don't care. You can put me down, put a dislike on me, troll me, call me a narcissist, nutcase, whatever. Social media is where I'm going to speak out. That's where I'm going to speak out. I'm going to speak out here. I'm sorry if it offends some people. I'm sure a lot of people agree with me and have been put through the same experiences and it needs to be said. And I'm going to say it. Peace out. Zen time.